everybody, this is the Sliders Review. I'm here today to talk about Black History Month. The month that is a celebration of my people, because I am a black man and everything. And it's about all our accomplishments, all the oppression that we have gone through over like centuries of living in like America and stuff like that. And even till this day, we are still being oppressed. And so I'm here today to talk to you about certain characters or TV shows or episodes that revolve around Black History Month that I personally enjoy. So I'm here today to talk to you about Luther Season 2. And I know what you're saying. It's not Black History Month. It's not February. Well, you know what? America was built on the back of like slave labor for 400 years. So every day is Black History Month. Anyways, Luther Season 2. This is only 4 episodes as opposed to 6 in the first. It's a really good season, but it's not as good or thrilling as probably say Season 1, mainly because they have more episodes. See, they break this season down into 2 different segments. The first 2 episodes deal with one killer, and then the next 2 deal with a completely different killer. So that's good in the sense that the killer gets more screen time and a motive, but their motives are kind of unclear. And it's kind of like a little uneven. So the writing in that part isn't as strong as say like Season 1 when they do episodic stuff and you know exactly why the killer's doing what they're doing. So I wish they would have had a more stronger emphasis on like, you know, why the killers did exactly why they did and not just have Luther tell us. The thing about Luther is that he's a very smart, intelligent cop, but he's very unorthodox. He does things differently than most cops. He never carries a gun. He tries to talk to his criminals and stuff like that, make them stop, and even putting himself in the line of danger, hoping that they will stop. And for some bizarre reason, they always do. And I've never understood that. I don't know why the writing is like that. It does make the show unique. But in a real life situation, the killer just not going to give up that easily and stuff, you know? And one problem with the show is that because he is so intelligent, he comes to conclusions very quickly. And it normally seems to always be the right like solution. And that's weird. Normally in a cop drama, at least in the American one, it's guess after guess after guess until they find out what the real motive is and stuff like that. But that is one problem when he's able to figure things out like lightning quick and stuff. Now, his female boss from Season 1 has been completely written out of Season 2. Not even sure where she's at. And so the dude who was doing HR last season, he has taken over. And one thing that's kind of odd is that, you know, people in charge always let him do what he wants to do, even when it puts people's life in danger, but they trust him like so much. So in a sense, the writing sometimes is kind of weird and stuff like that. I don't know if it's a cultural thing, because this is a British show and everything, but it's just odd. But all in all, it is a good series and stuff. And if you're able to find it, like, go check it out. And so, like, when it comes to Alice, I'll just get her out the way now. Since the events of Season 1, she was put in the mental ward. Not sure why she wasn't put in like a prison, but she's in some type of mental ward. And so it starts off with her talking to Luther's boss, and they're talking about the events of who killed like that cop last season, the dirty cop who killed Luther's wife and tried to kill him and stuff like that. And she says she did it, and she did it on her own, and Luther didn't tell her to do it. And, you know, then she asks, is Luther still a cop? And the dude tells me, yeah, he's still one of ours. Now, while this is all going on, Luther is in his apartment and he has a pistol with 1 bullet in it, and he's playing Russian roulette. It's at the point where he just doesn't want to live no more because of what happened last season. But luckily, you know, the bullet wasn't in the right chamber and stuff. So after he nearly escaped death, he decides to go back to work and stuff. Now, Alice, he talks to her in the first episode and stuff. And what's so bizarre and weird is like he frees her. There's no explanation as to why. Maybe because she helped save his life last season and stuff like that. And also, he probably has feelings for it, but he lets her know, I ain't got no feelings for you. And it's clear she still has feelings for him. Because when he talks about like a woman who came to see him at the office, she got like really jealous. So why in the world would you free her? Cause like he's such an or off the like books type cop that the things he do are kind of dirty and stuff. So what he does is that somehow he has managed to get his hand on a card key. And so he has an apple. He lets her know, hey, do you want a bite? And she says no. So he takes a huge chunk out of it. And as he's leaving, he places the card key in between like the apple and stuff. And then he tosses it over like the wall. Now, there are orderlies walking like around, and there are of course inmates and stuff. And so of course, plot armor, she just happens to find it. Now, what if the orderly had just left? What if the orderly had saw it? What if another inmate saw it? Do you see what I'm saying with the plot armor and how things just kind of just happen just to happen in this series? After that, she escapes. She meets him in the second episode, thinking they're gonna work together or rekindle something, but he lets her know, nope, don't want you. You leave, stuff like that. So she's heartbroken or whatever, but she decides, you know what? I'll go and travel the world. So I think she says she'll go to Mexico and stuff. But it's so weird. She's psychotic in the head. She murdered her parents. Why would he do that? Like, he's such an odd cop. So in a way, the villain of the first two episodes is just some random guy who wears a haunting mask when he kills folks. And so, like, I think, what was the first person he killed? I think he knocked on, no, something happened. I think he followed a woman. She went around the corner and then he just killed her and stuff. And then he always taunts like the security cameras that are around town, waving at them and stuff. So they're desperately looking to find this dude. And so they do a whole bunch of detective work and all this and that. And eventually they're able to kind of like find out who it is. And so at some point he starts to taunt them again. He goes to like a house. That house has like security cameras and they're tapping into the feeds. He's just waving at the camera, knocks on the door, and the people open the door in the middle of the night without looking out like the window or security camera. And remember, this is back in 2011. So I know there weren't that many security cameras around houses, but they still were. And the people just open the door and then he just goes in and just starts killing them. And then he waves at the camera again. So Luther is like dead set on like stopping this dude, but there's a complication. There's a woman. This woman comes to Luther. Now, I think her name is Caroline. I can't remember, but her and him have some history. See, her husband murdered a prostitute and cut up in a lot of pieces. And Luther arrested him and embarrassed the crap out of her husband. And so her daughter, Jenny, has decided to do drugs and be a prostitute herself, working in like, porno movies and stuff. And in those movies, guys are always making her go unconscious and like assaulting her. So she comes to Luther wanting her daughter back. He goes there and everything. And he talks to the Jenny. I don't know if she's a teen or not, but like she refuses to go and talking about she hates her mother and stuff like that. Well, he leaves, but he gets a few like feet away from the building, turns around, is like, nah. And then he goes back and he just like, interrupts like her movie and like just pretty much like puts her on, like he drags her out. And then when he gets on the street, he picks her up, put her over his shoulder, and then he just drives off with her. Luther's like, I ain't having this crap. And that was just so hilarious. And then he takes her to a safe house. Now, who's in the safe house? I could not believe it. It's Mark. I think that's his name, Mark North. the dude who had an affair with his wife. Now him and those two are like friends and stuff. They play like chess together and everything. They're both sad over the death of like Luther's like wife. And so he forces that girl to like stay there handcuffed and everything while he goes and take care of his business. And so like as he's like doing something, I think he makes sure this one lady gets home safe. No, no, not him. Justin and this new cop lady. I forgot to mention her new cop lady. Her name is Erin Gray, and she's a very intelligent cop, and she doesn't want the same thing that happened to Justin last season, where his name got smeared for helping Luther out and everything. And so, like, they go and they take somebody home, and she goes and makes sure, like, the place is safe. Well, somehow the killer sneaks into like the cop car and kidnaps Justin. After that, he tortures the crap out of Justin. He'll heat up like a hot piece of metal, stab him with it, cut him, all kind of stuff, right? As he's hanging and dangling from like like down in the sewers. But at least that's what, yeah, they're down in the sewers, and so like now we get more of the off the book crap from like Luther. I can't talk today. My mouth is getting like my tongue is getting stuck, my lips are getting stuck together and all kind of crap. My bad. So anyway, Luther tells that one lady, I got your daughter and this and that. Well, she decides for some reason, because he won't give her up and everything, because she doesn't want to go back to her mom. And so the lady, the mom, she calls and rats Luther out to the boss of like the Jenny, who does like the prostitution stuff. The boss lady, I think her name is Baby or something like that, or Babe. Either she rats Luther out, or the lady just wants to know where her property at and goes to the mom. So Luther goes there. He sees two goons and everything. They put a nail straight through his hand to get their message across. And they all like, we want our property back and everything. We want like, Jenna and everything. And so this woman, this mob lady is ruthless. She is like a pimp. And she doesn't care what she has to do. She wants like her prostitutes back. So she tells Luther that you're going to start working for me and everything until I get the girl back. Because if you don't work for me because you stole my property and everything, I'm going to kill the mother. I'm going to kill you and blah, blah, stuff like that. So she rules with fear and intimidation. So one thing she wants Luther to do is that, see, one of her goons is her grandson. And there's this guy who's in police protection who's supposed to testify against her grandson. So she wants him taken care of. So Luther, in pain and agony with a nail in his hand, he does it just to keep like people alive. So he uses Mark to help him get into like the safe house. And so he talks to like, the witness thing. I think he tells the witness, don't testify, or something like that. I can't really remember what their British accents are so thick. Sometimes it's hard to understand. And so like after that, he takes the girl, and we no longer see Mark after this. And so now he's letting the girl stay with him. And he's trying to rehabilitate her, trying to get her cleaned up and everything. He cooks her breakfast in the morning. He lets her sleep on like the couch or his bed or something like that while he's on like the couch. And he takes like care of her, And so she's shocked and surprised to see that he's one of the first men who hasn't tried to take like advantage of her and stuff. It's even to the point where she's so touched by this, she gives him like a great big hug and everything, And he tells her, while you're staying here, you're going to get a job. So she's all like, I'm not qualified for anything. He's like, I don't care. Go get a job. And so she goes looking for a job, but it doesn't really work out. She calls her mom from time to time, and goes to meet up with her mom, but her mom is so nasty to her. Like her mom just like her mom acts like she wants her, but she doesn't, you know? And so back to the whole Justin situation. The killer finally calls the police station. Luther, being who he is, he hangs up mid-sentence while the killer's talking, pissing off the killer. Everybody in the police station is kind of like, what are you doing? He's going to kill Justin. He's like, nah, he's not going to kill him. Justin's tough. He'll take care of himself. And it's kind of like, what makes you think that? But of course, it's plot armor, so whatever. And that's what bugs me and stuff, all the plot armor. So the killer finally calls back over and over, and Luther just doesn't pick up until he finally does. And then they can hear Justin like being tortured over the phone and stuff. So at some point in time, the killer leaves and goes and does what he's finna go do. Justin's able now to finally escape. And it's like this entire time he could have escaped. But it's plot armor. So he frees himself, he calls Luther, and instead of going to the hospital because he's all tortured and stuff, they go to nab like the bad guy because he's planning on kidnapping a bunch of kids, and he does. He puts them in like this warehouse, an empty one, and he puts like a tube to the car so they can inhale the fumes and everything so they can die. And so Luther comes in and, you know, he's doing his like talking speech and everything. And the killer decides, okay, I'm fine, I'm finna give up. And comes Justin, knocks the crap out of him, and they bust the bad guy. They free the kids. And then they see something in the abandoned warehouse, a bunch of crates. He was gonna mail all those kids to other countries and sell them. We don't know why he goes around murdering people. It's never revealed. We don't know why he was gonna mail them kids off. It's never revealed. They don't reveal kind of like why he kidnapped Justin, the cop. It's never revealed, right? And so then we get into like the second half of like the season, and the lady wants Luther to do more stuff for her. She wants a list of all these like names. I forget they're like bad people, right? And he's all like, you know, I can't get the list like this fast. And they're all like, yes, you can. And don't forget our agreement, the mother dies and stuff like that. So he fakes a fire at the police station by pulling the alarm. Everybody leaves. While everybody leaves, he goes in and he uses his boss computer. Well, Aaron goes in to check and make sure everybody's out. And so, like, she hears something and she sees Luther. She hides. And then Luther, he leaves, but then she sees he used the computer and printed out something, but she don't know what. She tells Justin, she's all like, Luther's a dirty cop and blah, 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 blah. Justin doesn't believe it because of all they've been through. And so he asks Luther, and Luther, of course, denies everything. And so she thinks that Luther is dirty, and she doesn't understand why Justin won't help her out. So she plans on going to HR and stuff. And so when she does, she says, you know, like, you know, oh, Luther used the computer, blah, 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 stuff like that. Well, the log entries have been wiped. So the HR person thinks she's lying and wants to know why are you like trying to smear a good cop. And so she's upset and at the point where she just wants to quit and everything. And she's all like, did you do it? And did you do it? And so she tells Luther, like, Luther's like, yo, like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so she thinks the IT guy wiped the computer. Well, Justin's sitting there and doesn't say nothing. But later he confesses to Luther he's the one who wiped the computer clean. And now he's a little suspicious too, and he doesn't understand what the world is like going on. Why did Luther get on the computer and look up that list and stuff? Anyways, so Luther doesn't really deliver on like the list. He just keeps it to himself. He plans on busting like, you know, the bad guys and stuff while there's a new killer going around. So I'll get through like with the whole Jenna storyline first. So he doesn't get to do the list. They're like intimidating him and everything. And then Toby, who's the grandson, goes to Jenna. He finds out she's staying at Luther's place. I guess the mom ratted her out again or something like that. And so he goes there high and paranoid because he doesn't have the list. He tries to assault Jenna. Off screen, she murders him with a knife, like blood everywhere. Luther comes back and he's all like, I can't clean this up. I gotta get back to work. If I don't show up, they're gonna wonder where I'm at because now they're suspicious of me and they're gonna come back to his apartment. So he tells her to clean up. She cleans it up. But then he tells her to like hurry up because one of the goons comes back suspicious because like the grandmother wants to know where her grandson is at. So the goon goes to Luther's place. By this time, Jenna's gone and everything. Plot armor comes in handy at this point because he sits down on the couch. His feet is on the rug and he feels something feels weird. He touches it and tons of liquid comes up. The liquid she used to clean up the blood. So he knows something's up. And he goes back to the mom, threatening Luther. Luther is too smart for this dude. He takes Toby's body in a plastic bag, bangs it up a little bit, and he stuffs it in the goon's car. Then he has Jenna call the police because Jenna went back to her mom to spend the night, but the mom ratted her out again. And Luther keeps telling her, stop going back to your mom. She ain't no good, but she keeps going back. So anyway, as the goon is there, she calls the cops and they look inside the trunk and there is the dead body. So now Luther has framed the goon for the murder of Toby. So he flees and everything. And the grandmother's all like, I want you to find the goon and everything. He killed my grandson. And Luther's all like, nah, I'm done with you and everything. Like, I helped you out. I got the girl back. She stays with me. And if anything happens to me, anything happens to the girl, I'm going to call a special friend of mine and she's going to come back and cut you up in a million pieces. He's talking about Alice and everything. So the grandmother finally leaves him alone. Now we get into the next killer. This killer is bizarre. He's very silent. He just stares at people. He doesn't say anything. He is great at staring at people and acting bizarre and weird. He first goes to like a gas station and he weirds out the people inside. They see he has a weapon. They lock the door until he starts smashing in the car of one of the people, the customers inside. Two customers run out to stop him. He sprays acid in one person's eyes and then he kills the other man. Then he writes a weird symbol on like the top of like this lady's car. First they think it's race, the dude's motivated by race, but it's not because he killed like he blinded the white dude, but he killed the black dude. So then the symbol on top of the car, they don't know what it is. They think it might be a gang symbol or something like that. It turns out to be some weird symbol that has to do with like stars and like a calendar and some weird thing like that. And so they see him kneeling on the ground in the footage and they don't know what he's doing. Is he tying his shoe? Is he calling somebody? So Luther, plot armor, smart as he is, he's all like, he's rolling dice. He's determining the odds if he should kill somebody or not. Kind of like Two-Face who flips a coin. And so this killer just starts like randomly killing people left and right every time he goes somewhere. Like he'll just walk into a building with his hammer in hand and he'll just start walking up to people and just start maiming them. He kills tons more people. And then when they go to the building where he killed folks, more plot armor, Luther decides to go down in the car garage and realizes he finds a car and it's the trunk is half open. There's a dead body inside. The person's like naked. The killer took the guy's clothes and stuff. So now they know they're looking for somebody inside the building because he was unable to make their escape and he's dressed as an employee. Well, there's a guy who has like blood on like his a towel covering up his face, but then he looks at Luther and then he reveals himself to Luther and he takes off running. Well, they capture him and stuff. Well, when they try to interrogate him, he won't say nothing. But then something crazy happens. Another killing happens. And it's the same freaking guy. They're twins, but now they have to figure out why it's the twin doing this too. And it turns out they're in competition with each other to see who can do the most kills and everything. So they lie and say the one twin brother has escaped police custody, which makes the other killer twin up his ante and everything. When they're able to like corner him and everything, because they find like his place and find out this and they find out that, they're able to find him. But Luther, doing his weird cop thing with no gun, he takes like a gas canister with gasoline in it. Because the thing is, these brothers love to play a game. They love probability. That's why they always roll dice and everything. So like, this other twin, he has a bomb strapped to him, and he has kind of like a dead man switch where his hand releases off it, it'll blow up. So he walks around town. They clear the town out. The SWAT team is all like, yo, let's just sniper this dude. The hand will release, but it'll blow up the buildings, but it won't kill nobody. Well, Luther, doesn't want the buildings blown up because, these buildings will cost like a lot of money. And what if they're not able to evacuate everybody? So he talks to the guy. He pours gasoline on himself. He's all like 50-50, man. Like, if I win, you get to disarm the bomb and everything. If you win, then you get to like set me on fire and everything. So the guy's all like, let's do this inside of like a moving truck. So they go inside, right? And they just start talking it out and everything. And Luther's still pouring more gasoline on himself. It's weird. Like, this man acts like he has no fear. He is willing to set himself on fire, but he believes that, he'll be rescued in time. And so, and of course, the bad guys, they're always thrown off by this because of Luther's weird way of like going about stuff. And so like, and when he does that, it throws them off guard to the point where they let their guard down. And so the dude rolls the dice, and like, so we don't know who gets to kill who or whatever. So Luther, who still has his wire on him, he tells the snipers and everything. I think what is it? The dude rolls the dice. And he's all like, "Which numbers do you want?" Because he knows what numbers they are. And Luther is all like, letter this do this. And so the guy looks at him all weird. So what does that mean? Well, there are letters outside the moving truck thing. And the cops and the snipers don't know what's going on inside because they can't see through it. But when Luther says, he's standing by leathers like something and something, they know to shoot on that like area of the truck. So they shoot the crap out of the bad guy and everything. By this time, he already put the peg back in the detonator so it won't go off if his hand goes off it. Luther comes out the truck, and instead of greeting his fellow cops, he just walks off into like the sunset in a very cool like Western kind of way. So after that, he goes back and he goes and gets Jenna and everything. And he tells her, you're free and everything like that. And so she basically says, what's next? And he goes and he buys her ice cream. Now I assume she was going to be in the third season and he was just going to take care of her. But no, they completely written off, and now there's a new thing going on in the third season. So Luther, like I said before, is a very good show and everything. It's just a little jarring at times because the writing is sometimes kind of odd. And I don't know if that's like a cultural European thing or it's just like their style of like writing. But it is a very fascinating, intriguing type show for a very unorthodox type cop. Happy Black History Month, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Bye.